Microbrand companies thrive on risk-taking. Brands like Zin, Doxa, and others have built reputations on producing watches that feel unlike anything else on the market. And today, that same spirit of experimentation lives on in smaller, modern companies like Vero. Based out of Portland, Oregon, Vero has slowly but steadily carved out its place in the independent watch scene, offering purpose-driven tool watches that aren't just homages but stand out on their own with strong design language and impressive execution. The DAYBREAK is one of those pieces that at first glance feels polarizing. It's not the sort of watch that you immediately fall in love with. It challenges you with sharp, angular crown guards, a bold bezel design, and a playful dial color that doesn't quite fit into the safe, conservative dive watch mold. But spend some time with it, live with it, and before long you realize that it's one of those rare watches that grows on you. By the end of my time with it, I came to appreciate just how much thought, restraint, and refinement went into this creation. The first thing you notice about the DAYBREAK is the bead blasted finish on the case and bracelet. It's not a surface treatment you see often at this price point, and it immediately sets the watch apart. There's a soft matte texture to it that feels toolish and purposeful, almost like military equipment, while still looking refined enough to wear outside of adventure settings. The DLC coating on the bezel and screw-down crown adds another dimension. The execution here is flawless. It's even deep and doesn't have the uneven shine or cheap painted look that you sometimes find on DLC treated parts. Together, the blasted steel and black DLC create a two-tone contrast that's subtle but striking. However, I did notice that the bead blasting can be easily scratched, so buyer beware. The case itself measures in at a refreshing thin profile for a dive watch. Vero managed to keep proportions lean without compromising robustness. That thinness, coupled with the way the bracelet articulates, makes the watch wear comfortably even on smaller wrists. At 41mm, a lug to lug of 47mm, 11mm thick, and 20mm in between the lugs, and a weight of 158 grams with the unsized bracelet, the DAYBREAK finds a sweet spot between presence and wearability. Then there are the crown guards, an element of the design that deserves special mention. They're aggressively cut, angular, and immediately distinctive. I don't dislike them. In fact, they're one of the things that make the DAYBREAK stand out, but I'll be lying if I said they didn't take some getting used to. At times, the sharpness of the geometry can feel a bit harsh. Still, they're functional, well-machined, and part of what makes this watch uniquely Vero. You see, Vero clearly spent time thinking about how to make their bezels stand out in a sea of cookie-cutter dive watches. The result is a 60-click unidirectional bezel that feels solid in operation, with a satisfying resonant click and no backplay whatsoever. The sound and tactile feedback are in line with what you expect from Swiss divers that cost considerably more. Its look is also different from the norm, not just a Submariner-style insert with printed numerals, but something with depth and unique character. The dial, though, is where the DAYBREAK truly sings. Bright, playful, and instantly eye-catching, it's a welcome departure from the endless black and blue palettes of modern dive watches. The color feels fresh without being trendy, and paired with crisp bloom plots and clean typography, it creates a personality that's hard to ignore. And it's also refreshing that Vero's using a sapphire crystal with air coating on the inside to protect the dial. The hands, indices, and lume pip are filled with superluminova, and the lume itself is strong and even, with no complaints in nighttime visibility. This one really took me by surprise. The bracelet is a solid piece of engineering. It articulates well, draping around the wrist naturally without feeling stiff or clunky. The finishing matches the case perfectly, keeping that utilitarian bead blastic aesthetic consistent throughout. It's comfortable, well balanced, and adds to the overall cohesive look of the watch. That said, there's room for improvement. In an era where even mid-tier brands are adding toolless micro-adjust systems, the DAYBREAK feels like a step behind. There's no on-the-fly adjustment, and while the clasp works fine, a modern ratcheting system would take the bracelet from good to excellent. I also wish Vero had included quick-release spring bars or drill lugs on the case for easier strap changes. This is the kind of watch that will look incredible on a NATO or rubber strap, but the lack of convenient swap options make experimenting just a bit more cumbersome, especially when you know you can scratch up the case. However, all that aside, the watch feels and looks great on my 6 and 7/8 inch wrists. Powering this watch is a Swiss-made Sellita SW200-1 automatic movement with approximately 38 hours of power reserve. That's actually assembled in the US and regulated in 6 positions. That last detail is important. Many brands, even Swiss ones on higher price points, don't go through the trouble of regulating their caliber so precisely. The result here is a reliable, accurate movement that punches above its weight. Backing all this up is a 10-year warranty, which is virtually unheard of in this industry at this level. It's a strong statement from Vero about their confidence in their product. Where most brands will give you 2 years, maybe 5, Vero doubles that, providing peace of mind and long-term value. This watch retails at $890. While not inexpensive, it represents strong value given the specs and execution. When you compare it against larger Swiss brands, you start to realize just how much you're getting here. A US assembled Swiss movement, careful regulation, a robust case with premium finishing, 200 meters of water resistance, a distinctive design, and a decade-long warranty. The DNA feels like a blend of Sin's tool-first mentality and Doxa's playful design language, but it never feels like a copy. Instead, it takes cues from those inspirations and combines them into something distinctly its own. This isn't a watch I fell in love with the first time I saw it. In fact, I wasn't sure I liked it at all, but over time the DAYBREAK grew on me. Its quirks like the sharp crown guards or the lack of quick adjust bracelet fade into the background, while its strengths, comfort, unique finishing, dial color, bezel action, and thin profile shine through. You see, this watch is not trying to be everything to everyone. It's not chasing trends or mimicking icons. It's a watch built with intention, blending playful aesthetics with serious specs, and standing toe-to-toe with far more expensive Swiss counterparts. For those who want something different, something with personality and purpose, the Vero DAYBREAK is an easy recommendation. I want to know your thoughts. Are you familiar with this brand? What do you think of this model? Until next time, be safe out there and stay humble.